YouTube. No, down in the corner here. I've got this Les Paul, which is in for wiring. So this is someone suggested last night on the live stream I do a masterclass on guitar wiring. So how to wire a Les Paul? So basically, you plug it in. You can obviously hear amps on. You plug it in and there's nothing. The wiring in this in the back is a little bit scrappy. It's been foil lined, so I'm actually sitting wondering if the foil lining is maybe earthing out something, which is I've had happen before. So it might be as simple as that. First things first, though, I'm going to have a look at the output jack socket. I've already prized off the knobs. There's a few wee things. This guitar's needs some alterations. I think annoying. This see the neck pickup, the pickup rings on backwards. That annoys me. Also, it's got locking tuners. That's obviously it's not a Gibson. I think it might be it's an old Japanese one. I think. Yeah, you want to be taking them off and flipping them around. They're all upside down. I don't think it really affects the way it works. So I'm going to take out the jack socket because I'm thinking I always go for the most obvious and simplest thing. And I'm thinking the chances are that the wires have come off the jack socket, or one of them's come off the jack socket. So I'm going to have a look at that first. I may try and tidy up the wiring a bit. I noticed there was one of the earth wires is off one of the tone controls, but that would just make the tone control not work. It wouldn't stop the whole guitar working. Just a little bit of cleaning up. I think I might have to take off all the pots and then clean all the badly done solder off them and see if I can salvage them. But I want to just make sure it works, to make sure the pots are working before I go and change everything over and then end up with all nicely wired with burst pots. So there's the two. You see it. You can't really see it on this. I don't want to zoom this camera in anymore in case it hits off it gets in the way. But so there's it's got cloth wiring in it, and looking at it, the center point is connected to something, and the shield does seem to be going there. Cloth wiring for vintage, to make it proper vintage is much harder to use. I mean, I can use it. I don't mind using it, but if you're going to be doing something for the first time soldering, don't bother with it. It's just much harder to use. I see it's somewhere. It's earthed out inside the guitar. There's an earth wire somewhere just being completely connected. So what I think I might do is I might just, I'll take the pots out. I'll take the pots out using my Halford socket set here. Right, I might actually, that might not, is that right? Okay, it fits this one. That was the one I tested it on, that's why I've got the right socket out. So these pots might not all be exactly the same. Yeah, it's been kind of butchered, this guitar, a fair bit. Whoever it was has done all this work to it's been very brutal. You can kind of see all the dents and stuff around about the pots, and but to be honest, I think it might be that copper shielding. Might just be. So I've got a feeling that once I separate these pots from. That's coming out, that's coming out, that's coming out. This one is hammered in. I wonder, does it work now? Yeah, what could be happening is that's still nothing. Still nothing. Right, so take these all out. You can't get electrocuted doing a guitar, by the way, even though it is clearly plugged, live amp, but there's no major electricity. That I think is probably a kill switch, but the actual switch seems to be a bit sticky. But I'm not going to worry about that, and just to connect it up later on. All that does is when the button's not pressed in, it's not doing anything, and when you push the button in, it connects two terminals together. So if you just take a line, a jumper cable off basically the output, the output of the pickup or the output of the switch, and then put earth on the other side, when you push it down, it just earths the whole guitar. That's the way to do a kill switch. So I'm not worrying about that. I'll do that later if it indeed doesn't work. So let's have a look and see what we've got in here. Again, I couldn't. I'm not going to zoom in. You can zoom in manually, I suppose. So there's the earth wire, which is fair enough. It goes straight to the output jack. That's all right. And I've used a connector block to connect it up. We've got pickups. That says handily says bridge on it. So, yeah, I wonder. Actually, wondering. Normally, when you get the, actually, that's actually. Oh, right. Okay. Jeez. Oof. Yeah, I think, to be honest, I'm going to take out this this cloth wire. It's very badly burned. Very badly burned. It's not really getting a good connection anywhere, and not too bad. This is not normally not the normal way I would wire up tone controls, by the way. I think it might work. These are orange drop caps, and I've probably spent quite a bit of money on it. But if I take it with, even like that, I take it we're still getting nothing. Yep, nothing. Right, I'll take it. Everyone's up at full. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to take this out. I'll turn on the soldering iron. I'm going to take this stuff off and just basically do it again. It's like the amount of time I could spend, trying to problem solve when basically just taking it all off, checking, make sure the pickups are working. I wonder actually, before the soldering iron's heating up, I'm going to have a look in the, make sure the switch is giving me something. I would normally suggest having a wee tub to put all the... Oh! I heard something there. I wonder, is there something wrong with this switch? Is that what's wrong with it? Ah, oh. I'm hearing life coming when I'm going inside this cavity. I'm getting some noise. Right, well, sometimes it's as simple as that. What's happened is the this is foil sealed. Yep. And it's what's happened is the switch is actually touching the shielding, which is just earthing out the whole guitar. So not ideal. Really awkward to get at that switch as well. This is just going to involve just poking about in here a bit, see if I can make it. So that's it. It's partly to do with these cloth wires, which are dead difficult to use. I mean, I think the guitar is now on. Isn't it? It's not great. Ideally, I was hoping I would not have to take all the pickups out and stuff to redirect this switch and hopefully just get it in there. But what I might do is if I unscrew the switch on the top, which I think is going to need a pair of pliers, and then I'm basically going to put insulating tape round the switch. I'll leave the shielding in so it'll still work, but I'm going to just wrap a bit of insulating tape around the actual contacts of the switch so the contacts of the switch don't touch the shielding. I need to find my orange handled pliers to do this, or I could just use these yellow handled pliers. They're going to fit. Get it going. There we go. Yep. I mean, sometimes it's the simplest things. I mean, the great, you don't really need shielding in these places. I know it's a bit, but I want to make it as good as possible. Okay, but it's not as important as actually making the guitar work. Right, so there's, I just take the switch out completely, which there might not be enough room for. But basically it's just I'm really thinking you can't be difficult to get at to see what the hell's been done in here. God. It's a mess. It's a mess. That's that's the output. Basically, I don't know if you can see in this switch. There's a in and in on this side, which are the two pickups. Oh, it's both on. Yeah, and then that there is the output. And what's happening is that output, the actual terminal, is just shorting, touching this foil and cutting it out. So rather than take it out, and there's a magnet and a wee thing for a key stuck in there as well. That wouldn't have been helping. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a wee bit of insulating tape round the edge of this. And it's not going to be easy, obviously, is it? I'm just going to put that round the bit there. In fact, could I just put it on the? I'll just put it on the shielding actually, so at the point where it touches, so it'll still be shielded because the shielding's still there. It's just now being insulated from the edge of the switch. Yeah, so basically all I've done is put a bit of insulating tape there, so now that won't, where it does touch, it touches insulating tape, it doesn't touch the copper shielding. That's really probably actually going to have sorted the guitar, I think. Put this switch back on again. Right, that came off it, like that. So I think that's probably actually sorted it, but I'll tidy up the wires that are on it. I think I'm not going to charge a guy for this. Guy, David, lovely guy. I did a swap with him. You'll see tomorrow's Trade Tuesday, and he's happy. I've got this Les Paul, it needs wired up, so I'm not going to. But you can't see what I'm doing. I'm trying to put the nut on the bottom of this this pickup switch. But he said this guitar did work when he got it, and then it didn't work. So what's happened is basically it's just wiggled a little bit. Now there's a bit of insulating tape switched against the output of that socket, so it's fine. Let's do it that way and rotate it round a bit so it's sitting at the right level, like that. And then try to do this so you can see it. This isn't really that easy to do. Just tighten that up. Sometimes this is a socket setty thing, but this is like a thumb wheel. That seems to be upside down, isn't it? Yeah, so the switch was upside down to start with. So can I get it this well enough to actually be able to swap over those two terminals to make it the right way up? I think I probably can. Probably. It's really tight. Oh, there's a shielded wire there, sort of floating in the middle of nowhere. What a mess. What a mess. So it's easier just to make it neat to start with. Right, so I'm going to swap these over so the switch isn't upside down. So what I'm going to do is take off the wire off one terminal of the switch. Right, we see what's going on a little bit. And take the wire off the other side of the switch. And put what was on that side on this side. Good, and then take whatever was on this side and put it on this side. Right, so that should now be, flip it over, that should be the neck pickup. Just tap it with something until it's the neck pickup, both pickups, and then bridge pickup. So looking at this, I'm also noticing, does a kill switch work? No, I don't think there's any wires connected to it. You'll see that I said that this pickup ring is the wrong way round. You can see it's the higher end is at this side and the lower end's at this side. Well, you want to take out that pickup, flip the pickup round and then put it back in again. This pickup's backwards. Normally you would have the adjustable poles on this side. So this one, I think that looks just like a square. pickup ring, so I'd maybe take off that pickup ring, flip the pickup round, put it back in again, just for, didn't really make that much difference, but it just looks right. So we're actually all appear to be working now. I'm just going to have a wee check to make sure, see what how bad some of this is. If there's anything I can really tidy up, because it looks bad, but I mean it doesn't necessarily have to. As long as the connections are all right, then I could be able to just put this back together again. It's a little bit messy. A wee bit of bent wire. That's just plastic on there. That's not a good connection there. I'll redo that one. Unplug it from the amp so there's not too many poppy noises. That there's not. It's a little bit suspect. So if I just. And see when I'm doing this, I'm kind of hold it for a couple of seconds, make sure it's caught on. Now that's a good connection. It's just messy. It's just messy. Seeing as I'm not going to charge any money for this, I'm not going absolutely mental with making it. I just want it to work. I'll put that. Just literally pop these back in again. At least I was sort of right with the shielding thing. So it was the shielding in below the switch, not the shielding in the pocket that was making it not work. So far, these things you kind of go, all right, that's me sorted it, but quite a lot of the time that's not you sorted it. That's you just fixed one of the things that's wrong with it. There could be many other ones. I'll just start putting these wee knobs. I'm doing these from the underside, even though you can't see what I'm doing. I should probably have a camera pointing up the way. But this is the other way of doing tone pots. Someone told me before this is the vintage correct way. Normally I would run the hot from the pickup, and the hot from the output or the input of the volume control to the center lug of the tone pot, and then use the lug number 3, which is the one when you're looking at it upside down like this. The one that this one's actually connected to, I'd have that going to be going. I'd have the cap going from the lug 3 to earth, and then you're basically dialing it to earth. This one actually it's running through. It's basically doing the same thing. There's not a set way to use these things. It is just a volume control, or a tone control. There are different ways that work equally well. It's just the way I learned to do it the first time is the way I tend to do it. Just like I find it easier that way. But this one's been done this way, so I'm just going to leave it. I'll tighten these up later on. Once I'm sure the guitar's actually working. It doesn't. I do agree. It probably doesn't give you the most riveting viewing experience. There's me fumbling in below, without looking at it, trying to stick a nut and a washer onto the pot. Let's see what I'm trying to do. You can do it this way if you want. Okay. This one actually didn't want to come off. As it got solder or something spilt on it, maybe a little bit threaded. It is the same bolts I took off, so they should all go back on again. Nice and tight. Tight. Right, so are we going to have full power? Right, and we have nothing. So the answer is yes. The foil is shorting out one of these pots. Actually, I noticed a couple of washers here I didn't put in. So yeah, what I think is one of the lugs or the terminals for something is actually touching that foil shielding and basically just earthing out the whole guitar. Ideally, we wouldn't have the shielding there, so if I can maybe pull these and bend them up out the way, the guitar might spark to life. That one's already there, so that's fine. What I'm doing here is I'm kind of bending the wee lugs so that they're not sticking down the way and thus cancelling out the guitar. I can actually see it there, that's exactly what it's doing. So it might be a case of taking it off, putting another bit of insulating tape in below that bit. That means the shielding will still work, but that's no longer touching. And if I just pull that one up and then this one up, I think that might actually do it, because any one of these touching earth just cancels out the whole guitar. Right, has that done anything? It's sounding live. No, it's not sounding live. What's going on? I get the impression that it's on backwards. These are sounding live. So what? Yeah, I think maybe my super plan of just put it back in again is not the way to go. I might need to just rejig the whole thing, take it off and start again. It kind of looks like, wait, where's the output wire? The output wire obviously comes from this switch. So is it? Are we getting oh God? It's damn fidgety in here. So I'm now looking at it, wondering if one of the actual pickup wires is touching the. I don't see it. Look at us. But I mean, I kind of know. But if I stick my multimeter on the pickup ring, let's set it to ohms. If I stick it on the output, the pickup, and then put that to earth, that's working. So that 845 sounds about right for the pickup, and then this one is. The switch is not switched in. Right, okay, sorry. Right. Yeah. We're getting 845 for that pickup, which is fine, and then nothing for this pickup, which probably implies that this pickup is earthed out somewhere. There's the shielding for it. The joys of being a guitar tech, it's never that easy, especially when you try and not just do it all from scratch. Basically, I should have just gone, rip it all out, stick it all back in again. I'm just trying to do it without having to take the time of taking all the strings off and all that. Which is really what I suppose why it's so expensive to get done in the shop, because they just price it, they just do it that way. You know, you're charging 100 quid, you just take out all the parts and put them all and replace them all. Whereas this way I'm kind of trying to see bad connections or things that haven't been done right. I do feel a bit. I just feel a bit weird that the. See that? Is this touching earth? Is the same as touching the tip of the guitar, implying that it's actually on backwards, which. Or it's come off. It's come off. I can see it now. Just a bad connection. That's it there, isn't it? That's the main earth for the whole guitar. Is on this not long enough cable. This one. You can see it there. That connection. there. So it's that stupid shielded wire. That bit there has to go to earth because that is the earth for the whole guitar. Everything apart from the bridge, which is this white wire is the bridge. So basically, I just need to stick that onto. You could get that on there. It shouldn't be that hard. I think this might sort the whole thing. Part of this is it wasn't a very good. It can't have been a good solder connection, but also I've just been letting this connection dangle there. So that's probably why. So now it shouldn't be live when I do that. I'm thinking. Yeah. Doesn't sound live. Is the guitar on? It is. I'm not sounding. That's actually a magnet there. It's stuck to the string. Let's take that out. Right, okay. Yep, so because I've now made the switch the right way around, the volume controls are now the wrong way around. So pointing at this pickup here, and it's this volume control for it, which is the wrong way around. It should be this one. So I've now got to swap over the volume controls. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this back in again. Again, this stupid copper foil shielding stuff is touching the hot when you plug in this wire. Just earthing out the whole thing. I'm just going to rip that. It's a copper shielding. I mean, and I know people say it's a great idea, but you don't need it. And if anything, it just creates problems quite a lot of the time. Let's see if I can get this in without it cutting out the guitar. As we now sitting to look at this and to try and it's got to be that bit there or the actual this actual oh, you can't see it. The actual lever that it's touching is just touching the copper foil because that hole is lined with copper foil. So basically, and the copper foil is there, so it just touches that, just airs out the whole guitar. You've got no sound. So I'm going to have a go at trying to remove the copper foil from this. So I'm just going to poke at it. This is technical terminology. Just to get it out of the way because you don't need foil lining every single thing. I think what's happened is the guy, whoever it is, did this has bought a. This is not the guy I actually got the guitar off. He said when he got it, someone had the previous owner had just bought a neck and a body and basically stuck all the extra bits in himself. And he said, "Oh, the wiring's not brilliant," and it's like, "Yep, not brilliant." But it's the idea of like when you, I'll just make it as good as I can. So I've seen folk raving about shielding. I'll put shielding in it. It's only a £5 a roll. Very technical, that, isn't it? You can see it right where. Now I've got to find the screws that were holding this in. And only a couple of them actually went in, the rest were threaded. So if I just put this in, it'll stop it hanging off. And my solder connection will be good enough to handle the lead hanging off it, but it just sorts it out. So basically the problems with this guitar, although the wiring looks a little bit rough, kind of wired alright. It's the whole idea of copper shielding the whole thing. If you're going to do that, make sure it doesn't touch anything. The copper shieldings to make it touch everything that's earth, but make it not touch any of the live terminals, because as soon as it touches a live terminal, it's basically the same as a kill switch. It just turns off the guitar. Now what I've got to do is I've got to swap over the two. Are we still on? I'm going to check this at every stage. Yep, so now I could either swap over, just physically swap over the knobs, or I could just take, I'm just going to actually unsolder them and reconnect the pickups. So that there must be a pickup. Just got to try to look and see what's going on. Is it? Or is it that there? How have they done this? That white wire has to be the pickup in that grey wire. No, it's even... I think I've actually just put this on wrong, backwards. When I put the knobs back in again. Take them off and do it again anyway. So, as I said, I've got these tweezers, which I found in a really expensive tweezer pack. They're kind of really heavy duty, kind of almost like pliers. Very handy. I'm just going to take off the pickup wires. In this case, it's the grey one. And then the earth of that cable will be on the back of the pot. Take that off, and I will make that look a little bit nicer. I think it's a bit on the crappy side, and then this one, it's the white wire, which is going to the middle lug. I'll take that off, and then there'll be a shield on that as well. There. Right, so there's your one pickup, and there's the other pickup. And it's mislabeled. That's mislabeled neck. Oh, that's maybe the output for the neck. I don't know how. Whatever they're doing, seems crazy. Right, so that's good enough. If I stick that, if I stick that onto the center lug. Again, this is wired backwards the way I would normally do it. I would normally put the good enough, and then put the shield from that onto the back of the pot to earth it. It's on, it's solid, and then we get the grey pickup, which is actually marked neck. Is there enough? It's it's a mess. I'm just going to redo this. It's all melted and damaged. So I'm going to strip this wire. This is pretty thin stuff. I'm glad. I mean, someone actually suggested I do these live on Twitch or sort of Discord or something like that, and it's like I don't really know how to do that. But also, I'd rather not put up a video if this doesn't work. So if this doesn't work, you'll not see this video, and I am totally talking to myself. And you should really use wire strippers, but I'm just used to using Stanley knives. I've worked with them for my whole life. Right, that's much neater. And actually, this is the first time I've actually had to get the solder out. What you do here is you put solder onto the wire, like so, and then onto this bit of the wire, like so. That means they will stick. And then, using my super industrial type tweezers, I'm going to put the centre of this onto the centre lug of the pot, which is the same place that the tone control on this particular design is sitting. I'm going to solder that onto there, and that's fine. And I'm actually just going to solder the other bit, the shielding from this wire, onto the back of the pot for earth. And the tone controls, well, this one's not actually connected anymore. You've got to check these things. That come off. In this particular type of wiring, the tone control goes to the same lug as the pickup does, so I don't need to swap the tone controls over, because the tone, and I noticed actually when I was doing this, that this wire here, which is meant to be soldered onto the back of that pot isn't. Although to be honest, it's not really required because there's already all this foil shielding everywhere, so you don't really need earth wires connecting all the pots because all the pots are going through that foil shielding. And I need to find the solder, which, as per usual, is always the thing I can't find. Is the thing I had in my hand 2 seconds ago because I just put solder on it. So what did I do with it? Yeah, so I'm going to put some solder onto this wire, even though I think it's a redundant earth wire, and stick it onto the back of that pot. I'll still put a wee bit of solder on the back of the pot as well. There we go. Yeah. Just like that, so you can look inside it and there's no... Ow! The first burning of the soldering iron today. I let it touch my finger. A stupid wire, this. Just use plastic wire. Don't use this stupid foam covered, the vintage specific cloth covered crap. And it's solid. Right, that's fine. That's fine. It's not touching anything. That's connected. That's connected. That's connected. That's connected. Right, so this guitar should now work. Famous last words. So that should be... Well, what's going on? That means I've got to swap the switch back round. No, but that means I've swapped both things. It was definitely the wrong way round. So that is the neck pickup. And that's the bridge pickup, the bridge control. So that's right. It's now just this switch is the wrong way round, which I've already switched over, which is confusing, but I'm going to just do it again. That's what I get for doing my Bucky live stream last night. I've clearly just done something twice. So I'll just swap this background to where it was before. It's like, by trying to do it quickly, I've actually done it much longer when I could have just but now I know what I'm doing. So take that off. I'll take off the one off this side, which is this one. Get at it. This one. Ugh. That wire and that wire. So that wire I want to go over there, and this wire I want to come over here. Well, this better not swap over the two wires again because I'm swapping over but the pickups go to this switch. That shouldn't matter. 1, 2. Right. Fingers crossed. So, selected neck. It is neck. Turn the volume down. It does turn the volume down. And then you can check if the... obviously there's strings on it, so you can tell the tone's working, but if you haven't put strings on the guitar yet, if you tap it with the pull piece with some metal, you can tell the tone's working because it gets looser, and you can tell the volume's working because it goes down. And if you go to the bridge pickup, you can turn it down. So there we go, working. I suppose because there's a kill switch there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my multimeter over the terminals of the switch and see if the switch is actually working before if it's working, I'll connect it up. So there looks like there's 4 terminals on it, and it looks like somebody's been in there with a blowtorch. You can see the switch. here. There's 4 terminals on that, all melted all together, so it's possible this switch has just been melted, and it will not work at all. That's what happens when you hold the soldering iron on for like 3 minutes as you try and melt the thing, because you didn't put solder in the terminals first. So I'm just going to have a look at this, and these should all be registering nothing, not be giving me anything. Yeah, but if I... Can I hold it onto the 2 of them at the same time like that? That's quite difficult. And then if I push in the button at the bottom... Okay, it does work. Did that actually spring back out again? Ah, no, the switch is goosed. I pushed it in and it didn't pop back out again. So, if I try pushing it in with something... Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of the switch is sometimes popping back out again, and sometimes staying stuck in, just because it's all melted. So I'm just going to leave that. David, who's doing this, is kind of wanting to learn how to do this sort of stuff anyway. So it's now working. There's some work to do. Basically, buy another. I've actually got a kill switch. I'll just give you one, and you can fit it yourself, and you can have the joy of just fitting in. All you would do is take a line from the main output, from the jack socket, run it to one of the 2 terminals. This has got 4, but normally just 2 terminals, just because it's got a light in it. From the hot from the jack socket. Sorry, the hot from the jack socket. Run it to one side of your momentary switch, and then the other one you just put to earth to the back of one of the pots, and that just means that whenever you press it in, it just shorts out the whole guitar, similar to the way this whole guitar has been shorting out as the signal has been touching this shielding stuff inside here, on below the pots, and in the pickup cavity up here. You can see there, there, you know, the way I've sorted that is put a bit of insulating tape there, because what's happening is this is the output of the switch, was just touching that and it shorting out the whole guitar. So there we go. So still a little bit of work to be done on this guitar. Namely, I would swap round the locking tuners to being the other way around, as in, you know, they're basically all upside down. I would swap round this this pickup ring, which would mean instead of this pickup sitting at an angle like it is, like this, it'll be sitting at an angle like that, in line with the strings, which would be good. And I would raise them up as well. That's a huge distance to get. You know, you want it to be so that, see, when you sort of push down on the string like that, it's almost touching the pole pieces, and the same on the bridge pickup. No, that's me absolutely pushing it down. So you want to raise these up a little bit. Yeah, so basically just putting, and this never had a back cavity on it, so I'm just going to put the switch cover back on again. Surprisingly didn't. If you're going to do this, you might as well put foil on the back of the switch cavity, so it's like creates a sort of Faraday cage. I mean, there is something to do. Actually, I need to go into one of the Washburn wings to show you what the cage is like in there. They've actually got a PCB with all the pots and stuff on it, kind of like the way modern Gibsons do, but not done for the same reason. You know, done because, and the Gibson one's done to make it cheaper, so they can get somebody who doesn't know how to solder to assemble the guitars. You know, it's like, rather than getting a skilled person to solder the pots on, they just need somebody who can stick 2 connectors together. Which I was slagging it off with my pals. I'd be, oh, that's good for someone like me who doesn't want to pay doesn't want to solder. So I suppose in that sense, if you buy Gibson pickups, actually my pal, another pal's got a nice SG with the mini humbuckers in it, and if you bought Gibson P90s which fit into the mini humbucker hole, you could literally just, next time he's changing the strings, just buy the Gibson P90 and just stick the wire in, just disconnect and reconnect another one, and that's it, completely changed over. Yep, so make sure these are all tight, because there's nothing worse than having loose and wobbly. And that kill switch, the actual switch itself is burst. I think it's just because it's been so soldered on in the back, it's all melted. But when you kind of push the actual centre bit in, it doesn't pop back up again, just because it's all melted in the inside. So it's a kill switch, yes, but it would literally be a press this button in and it just turns the guitar off forever. It doesn't pop back out again. Yeah, and it's got the knobs here as well. I noticed the knobs don't clearly fit because they've had to squish the pots to make them fit. So I'm just going to put them on lightly so that there's a chance of them coming off again. It took me 10 minutes to squeeze these off. You're sitting there the whole time trying to slowly lever them without without smashing them. And I'm putting it so 10's at the top, so when you look at these pots when you're playing, if you see 10, it's at maximum. Yeah, so interesting guitar. I think looking at it, I think it's got a Gibson sticker on it. I don't mind it so much. See, when it's a sticker like that, you can't really say it's a fake Gibson because it's very obviously when you look at it, it's just like a gold sticker. So you can see looking at it, there's no way it's a real one. It's when people go to lots of attempt putting water slide decals on and stuff like that. It's kind of like to try and fool, and it's like that's like okay from the back. You're looking at somebody on stage. Oh, he's got a Gibson Les Paul, but if you're ever trying to sell it, anyone's going to look at that, even if you know nothing about guitars, and you're going to go, oh, it's a sticker. Also noticed that there's two wee nail holes there and there, which I think might make this. I don't know where it is. Where's my my Avon Avon Rose Morris? The badge on it's held on with two wee nail holes, so that might hint towards what this guitar is. There's actually a guy I want to talk to on Facebook named John Price. I think he's in Bathgate actually. He's like an expert on all sorts of 70s Les Paul type things, and there's some way of he could probably tell you where this one's from by the shape of these fret markers. The fact that this is a sort of squared edge rather than a rounded edge, or just a rounded edge where the neck joins, and also the sort of headstock shape. It's very nearly your mustache Gibson headstock shape. So I think this is a 70s Japanese guitar. I can see looking at it as plywood. You can see if you get the light right on the edge there. See here. So you can see when the light's right, you can see it's the finish is sort of sunk in. You can see this it's plywood stuck together. Yeah. And as I said, the previous owner apparently it was just he put this neck plate on. So this neck plate might have said "Made in Japan" on it. That's not the original neck plate. It's got plenty of mojo. Could do with a setup, but I think it's a good one for my pal to learn on. So rather than charging money for setting up and making it work, I've sorted the wiring. You don't know these things. I mean, it's trying to diagnose this sort of thing over the phone. You know, it's like someone says, they come up and say, it's just cutting out, what can it be? And it's like, it could be something as stupid as that. I mean, I didn't know that this had the foil lining in it. As soon as I saw it, I started thinking, foil lining, that could be a problem. I've done it before as well with a Strat I've had before, and it's like, it's got the foil on the back of the scratch plate, and there was a bit of foil that was connecting the pickup where the pickups were to the thing, and it just shorts it out. But as soon as you've got absolutely no sound at all, start thinking, is there a wire connected to the output jack, the center point, right? Because that's not going to work. And then if it's still absolutely nothing, as in no sound anywhere, the main output somewhere is just earthed, and that's just cutting the whole thing out. If it was kind of intermittent and stuff like that, then that might not be the point, or if it's fuzzy or low volume and all that. But it's just completely off. It's basically just doing what a kill switch does. And I'll get my pal. I'll think about it. Might just give him I'll sellotape another kill switch on there, and he can do that for his first soldering job, because that's pretty easy to do. Nice and easy. Yep. So that was a Masterclass Monday, just because it rhymes. Someone mentioned this last night on the live stream. Had a ball again last night on the live stream. I didn't get too drunk, I don't think. Although I did watch it back, trying to put like a timestamp thing on it, and I talk an awful lot of rubbish though. I don't think I really embarrassed myself that much though. Yeah, so rocking. Got got a big. I'm doing the second half of my Trade Tuesday. Tomorrow I'm in the studio, but I've got a Trade Tuesday video that I've already recorded. I've got the last bit to do this afternoon, so you'll see me when I pick this same T-shirt on tomorrow, doing the Trade Tuesday thing, and it might be quite a long video. I think it's coming out an hour or something like that again, so should be entertaining. Right, so where's the stop recording button on this thing? There we go. Stop recording. Rock on. Catch you later.